All right, it's Tuesday morning. We're doing a segment called We In or We Out. Look, we talked about all the best teams in the league, but there are some teams that are just crumbling and other fan bases that are just foaming at the mouth for change.
Come
on Sunday, Patriots head coach Jerod Mayo appeared to throw New England offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt under the bus after the game. Here's the situation. 3rd and 1, they didn't sneak Drake May. 4th and 1, they didn't sneak Drake May. The media asked him, why didn't you sneak Drake May? And here was the response.
Did you see on the short yardage, 2 plays that couldn't get the half yard, and did you have a conversation with Alex around 4th down there? What was that?
It was it was disappointing. I said this, I think probably the first week of the season. There comes a point in time as a football team where everyone in the stadium knows what the play is, and we just got to move bodies, and we weren't able to do that.
Would you consider running Drake in that situation? That it's a short yardage situation. We know he can run.
You said it, I did.
That's your OC, man. So it has become a cycle in New England. The next day he does the radio show. And he's like, well, I didn't mean anything by that. It was more of a defensive response. I tried to clarify that with the follow-up question because ultimately all those decisions are mine. I didn't want to go down that whole rabbit hole trying to explain all those things. Remember, the Patriots did not interview any other candidates. This job was Jerod Mayo's. Once Bill Belichick left, they passed the torch. Belichick didn't pass it to anybody. Robert Kraft passed this torch to Jerod Mayo. Mike Vrabel was on the block waiting like, okay, guys, I just got fired. Didn't get an interview. It's been a disastrous year in New England. Here's my statement, and I don't love playing the Grim Reaper here, but the Patriots should consider cutting bait and moving on from Jerod Mayo after this season. Are we in or are we out, Jamie?
I'll go quick because he who played with Jerod Mayo is over here steaming and has a lot to say. So I'm going to go with the word consideration in there. I'm going to go in on considerate, just assess. Peter, it's very important to remember that history, that commitment to this man before the change ever happened. I think we all thought it was a strange way to go about things, but the Patriots do things differently. I think sometimes it's okay to adopt the traditional approach. Just consider what's going on inside your building. So I'm in on this.
I'm out. I am definitely out on this. I say give him an opportunity to grow in this position. It's been rough, but it was rough for Bill Belichick when he started off with the Patriots. You know what I mean? And nobody was calling for his neck probably like that. You know what I mean? So I say give him an opportunity. Yeah, is he rough around the edges? Yeah, that's what you expect. He's a first-time head coach. That's what you're supposed to expect. He's a guy that had an illustrious career. He speaks the way he speaks. He says how he feels. In fact, I appreciate that a lot more than I do the other way when coaches say a whole bunch of nothing. They just do a hot air, put it all out in the air. And you're like, what does that even mean? He's telling you what he feels, and like he called his team, soft. And how did they respond the following week? They showed up and they played hard. You know what I mean? So I'm saying give him another opportunity. So I'm out on replacing him with a Vrabel or whoever.
Oh, I'm up. I thought Isaiah's going to back clean up here. Listen, of course you consider it. It's really rare for a one and done, like very rare. I remember being in the show one morning when Steve Wilkes had been let go by the Cardinals, and there was all this shock and awe, but the Cardinals did what they did. I don't think Jerod Mayo was expected to win a lot of games this year. It's fine. Their record is not great. But you can definitely talk your way out of a job. And the process that Peter just talked about where he says something, I don't know, overly candid and then has to come back and explain it has happened like 6 times this season. It happens over and over. And understand, this is an organization that had a head coach for 2 decades who never did it once.
Said nothing.
I can't remember in 20 years Bill Belichick ever saying, no, that thing I said yesterday, I should clarify that. And it feels like Mayo does it every single week. So it's fine if you lose. I don't think there were a lot of winning planning going on this year for the Patriots. Don't embarrass the organization. Don't make a fool of yourself. And don't fall all over yourself in the media every 5 seconds. I think definitely they can consider it because we got a quarterback. We got to make sure we handle this guy. And we got an owner who is very successful, who is getting on in years, and I think wants to win. And I think they want to win post-Belichick. And I think that's very important for Robert Kraft. This wasn't just Tom and Bill. And I think if this is not working, I would not be surprised. And yes, they should consider it, especially if the other guy is also a Patriots linebacker who is super respected and is sitting there having actually won as a head coach. Yes, they should consider it. Yes.
Well, I will just say this one thing before you take the floor. I will say that Bill Belichick in 2000 did get up in front of the mic and say that, we're horrible and we blank and stink. So that, maybe it wasn't 6 times if we're not doing the number count, but, everyone has done it. If you go back through the catalog, everyone at some point has put their foot in their mouth. Just saying.
Okay. All right. I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you just said, Kyle. I think that you have to consider it. And as former teammate, I love Mayo. I love him as a player. I know the impact that Coach Belichick had on him as a player and the mentorship that was taking place while he was there as a player. I think it's really difficult as a ex-player to come into a head coaching role and now create a separation between who I am as a player and who I am as a coach. There's a very thin line, not between love and hate, but between a player and a coach. And you have to be able to make that distinction when you present yourself to the public. Whenever you're speaking to the public on behalf of your team, right, in terms of the players, yes, Akbar, you can now motivate your team through the media, right? You can call your team out and hold them accountable through the media. But what you can't do is call your coaches out through the media. Those are conversations to be had behind the scenes, because when you do that, now all of a sudden you're backpedaling and you're trying to cover up, and now everybody knows that it's pretty much BS and you're not keeping it real. You have to, as a coach, I used to be on the headset in New England when Coach Belichick would take over Billy O'Brien, when Billy O'Brien would make certain calls, and Coach Belichick would get on the headset and say, no, run it. Right? Whenever Billy O wanted to throw it. So he is absolutely correct. He has the power as a head coach because he hears every play that comes through. And if you don't like the call that's coming through, don't wait until after the game to say something to the media. Make the call and tell your coach, because you are his authority in that moment. Say, this is what I want from this play, and you have the final say. But I don't like the fact that he is doing these things in public. I do believe that as a young coach, most coaches who are ex-players or just first-time head coaches have some kind of ex-coach that has been successful in this league that is on staff to help mentor them and help provide them some kind of governance to help them navigate these seas. I'm not sure if they have that in place in New England. If they don't, then they need to do that this upcoming season to help him along in his head coaching.